Welcome to today's lesson. In this tutorial, we will write the equation of a line given a graph. In this unit, we are writing equations of lines, and we're going to write them in slope-intercept form. That is, y equals mx plus b. Remember that m is our slope, and that number will go right here in our equation, and b is our y-intercept. And that number will go right here in our equation and will be added or subtracted to our x term. I'm going to color code. My slopes will be in red and my y-intercepts will be in blue. Let's start off with some that are basic information. Write the equation of a line with a slope of -3. That tells us that m is -3, and a y-intercept of 0, -6. That tells us that b will be -6. So this information is basically giving me the two numbers that need to go into our equation. So that should be pretty simple. Let's write y equals mx plus b. Again, I'm color coding to make it a little bit easier. Since our slope is -3, that number is going to go right here into our equation. So I will have y equals -3 times my x, and my y-intercept is -6, so that will simply go right here in my equation. Since it's a -6, I will simply write -6. And that is the equation of our line. All right, let's look at the second one. Write the equation of the line with m equals 0. Remember, that's your slope. And b equals 3. That is your y-intercept. So again, they're just giving me the two numbers that I need. So y equals mx plus b. I'm going to put the m, which is 0, right here for the m. So y equals 0 x plus b. Since b is 3 and that's a positive, I will simply say plus 3. Now this is a fine answer, but we all know that 0 times something goes away. So I'd rather just write the equation y equals 3. And this is one of our special types of lines. This is our HOI. Remember that HOI is a horizontal line. The slope is 0, and it will be y equals some number. And that's what it is. Y equals 3 in this case. Okay, let's look at it graphically. If we wanted to write the equation of each line in slope-intercept form given these graphs, we need to first find the y-intercept and then the slope. The y-intercept is pretty easy to see. It's right here on the y-axis, and that is this number right here. That is the ordered pair 0, -1. So that tells us that b equals -1. From there, I need to find my slope. So let's find another good dot. This is a good one right here. Let's count out my slope. Notice that I'm going up, so therefore my slope will be positive. And that makes sense because I am going up 1, and when I get there, I'm running to the right 2. That would be a slope of up 1 is positive, to the right 2 is also positive. The slope is 1/2. So I can write my equation. Y equals, my slope goes first, 1/2 times my x, and then I will add b, which is -1. So I will just simply write -1. And we just wrote the equation of that line. We found the y-intercept. We got that number. We counted out our slope. We've got that number. And we put the two numbers where they're supposed to go in the equation to write the equation. Let's do a second one. B equals, well, that's just another name for the y-intercept. Since the y-axis is right here, and I see that I'm crossing it right here, that is the number 1, 2. So b is simply 2. Let's find another good dot so we can count out our slope. I see another good dot right here. Notice that this graph is going down, and therefore our slope will be negative. And that makes sense because we are going down 2, and then we are running to the right 3. Remember that going down 2 would be a negative 2, and running to the right is still positive. So our slope is negative 2/3. Let's write the equation. Y equals, our slope goes first, negative 2/3, and that is multiplied to x. And then we put our y-intercept, which is 2. Since it's positive, I see a plus sign, 2. And that is the equation of that line. Okay. Let's look at our two special cases. Number 5, if I'm looking for the y-intercept, I'm looking where it crosses the y-axis. Unfortunately, it does not. It does not have a y-intercept. This must be a vertical line because vertical lines will not touch the y-axis. So since this is one of our vertical lines, it is our vux, and our slope is undefined. It's the word that starts with the U. Undefined slope. And if we're going to write the equation of a line that is undefined, has an undefined slope, it's going to be x equals some number. So our equation is x equals, we just need to figure out what number it is, and it's negative 2. That's where this line is crossing the x-axis. X equals negative 2. It's a special type of line that we do not use the variable y. So that's one of our vuxes. Let's look at number 6. If we're looking for b, that's our y-intercept. Let's see if we have one this time. Yep, here it is. It's crossing the y-axis right here at 1, 2, 3, 4. So we do have a y-intercept here. Let's see if we can find our slope. Well, because this is a horizontal line, that is another special case, and that is our HOI. H stands for horizontal, and here is our slope. Our slope is 0. And if we're going to write the equation of this line, we remember with the HOI that it's going to be y equals some number. And what is that number in this case? That number is 4, because that's where we cross the y-axis. Y equals 4. All right, so those are our two special cases. Our vux, vertical line, that's going to be x equals a number, and our HOI, horizontal line, that's going to be y equals a number. I have one more example, and I'd like to make this a try. I'd like to know which equation best represents the line shown below. Here is the graph of a line. I'd like to figure out which of these lines it is. Why don't you pause the video and try to answer this yourself. Pause now. Okay, thanks for trying this. Because this is a multiple choice question, I like to eliminate some answers first. The first thing I went to is the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is negative 4. But unfortunately, all 4 of my answer choices end with -4, so that actually didn't help eliminate anything. The next thing I realize is that this line is going upward, so therefore the slope will be positive. And if I'm looking at all of my slope options, I see that C and D are negative, and therefore those cannot be the answer choices. When you can eliminate some answer choices, that will help. So the question is the slope 1/4 or is the slope 4? Well, I found my y-intercept, and I found another good dot right here. And I realized when I'm counting that I'm going up 1, and to the right 4. To the right 4, which is a slope of 1/4, which means that answer A is my best answer. Thanks for watching this tutorial, and we will practice writing our equations from graphs in class.